So while I was editing, this article came out. I have to share it with you. These are the 8 most annoying people of the year. The rules are easy. Be in the media and be someone easily recognizable as annoying. And at the top of the list, we have Meghan Markle. Prince Harry documentary is self-serving twaddle, according to a royal expert. They say Meghan Markle and Prince, what's his name? Before he got married, Prince Harry had a name and a personality. Now, he's just a sidekick to the woman who would be princess. Meghan thought becoming royalty meant everyone would treat her like she got treated in Hollywood, with a mix of attention and worship. Turns out she had to curtsy to the queen, and Meghan demanded to be the center of her own universe. Now the press on both sides of the pond can't stand her. Even the New York Times gave her new show this headline: Harry and Meghan has all the intimacy of Instagram. It's shocking that Meghan is a career actress and she can't even act sincere. I wonder when Harry will notice. They share the list with such entities as The View, Kanye, now Ye West, Chris Cuomo, who got into that big problem with his brother and all that and career ended, Brian Stelter, Harry Potter people, Ben Collins / Brandy Zadronsny, Pete Davidson. Isn't that funny? Pete and Ye made the list together. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Finally, an award which they deserve. Yes! Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Leilani of Barbados. We are going to deep dive into Volume 2, Episode 1. We left off the last video with the Queen's marriage to Prince Philip. Yeah, I don't really know why, but she comes up with this very badly told story of when their private secretary, her and Harry's, I think that was Samantha Cohen, who then quit, had a one-on-one discussion with her where she spoke in parables to Meghan, and Meghan kind of can't explain it, but something about parasites, and there's a fish swimming nicely along, and then a parasite comes along, and then
this foreign organism, and the entire thing goes, what is that? What is it doing here? It doesn't look like us. It doesn't move like us. We don't like it. Get it off of us.
Honestly, for me, as a grown person, I would have been offended by anyone speaking to me like that. Just talk to me straight. Just tell me what it is. Okay, enough with the fish fillet dinner. Give me that fish. I'm here to marry a man that I love and do the best to make it work. End of. Of course, in normal Meghan style, we get the big showing off about the day of her wedding was wonderful and luxurious, and she called for everything she needed and she was given it.
And all I wanted was a mimosa, a croissant, and to play the song Going to the Chapel. And that's what I did. And it was great.
Oh yeah, at some point she mentions lying to Prince Charles at the time about how her father is deceased and that she would love him to walk her down the aisle. Of course, in pity, Prince Charles agrees. And in fact, they actually go on to say that Prince Charles was the one who orchestrated the whole gospel choir. He even chose the best singers from each gospel choir throughout the United Kingdom and had them perform. So he was very much a part of that happening. Little known fact. But that makes it even 10 times worse that even for a minute in that Oprah interview, even for 2 seconds or 2 days as it actually was, that she misled the public to think that the senior royal who was racist, we all thought it was Prince Charles because of how they alluded to it. When you hear how she had to guilt trip him in to walking her down the aisle and all that, you know. Back to Meghan's father though. Interesting how the royal family seemed to cover that one up for her, because she told Prince Charles that her father was deceased in her mind. But what came out in the press was that he was ill and couldn't make the wedding. So there you have an example of where the royal family PR was able to cover up the petty fight that Meghan decided to have with her dad over press photos. In fact, he was not in hospital dying, and that's why he couldn't make it. It was because she disinvited him or uninvited him. I don't think Meghan Markle has come to terms with the fact that nobody feels like her father deserves the wicked witch treatment that he was given, especially after all he has done for her. But we'll get to that later. Okay, more self-ingratiating talk about luxury and fabulosity and celebrity guests and how wonderful the wedding was and amazing. It was so crazy beautiful for everyone except them, because Meghan Markle still finds the gall to complain that she felt it was temporary.
It's not the rest of it doesn't matter, but the rest of it feels temporary.
Well, girl, I mean, I think you write your own destiny. Because on one side of your mouth, you're talking about how fantastic and princess-like the wedding was. But on the other side of your mouth, you're saying, but not for me, though. It kind of sounds like what they would say in French. How do you say, le bitch? I just realized that speaking of temporary, they're airing this documentary at Christmas during a time in the UK where heat is temporary. How about ham is temporary? Because a lot of people can't afford that this year. Imagine having such a bad sense of timing. Okay, more showing off about the wedding and Elton John and her mum rushing the stage and fangirling over Elton John. And we get it. We get the picture. It was amazing. However, in all of this, she forgets the name of her first dance at her wedding.
Even our first dance, Song of a Thousand Dances, a thousand. I always get it wrong.
1, 2, 3.
The Land of a Thousand Dances, which is... It's a Motown sounding era. I mean, it's a black people song, you know, rhythm and blues. So her not remembering it kind of demonstrates how she's been her whole life, disavowing her ethnicity and her, you know, black Americanness. We have constant fake friends just saying how amazing Meghan is, you know.
It was how every wedding should be.
Somebody who did her hair once, for example. When I say fake friends, I mean somebody who just, you know, don't really know her. And it makes me wonder, where is Omid? I did say that I thought they weren't recharging his battery as often as they used to be.
Join honey.com/Sophia. Save money while shopping out. Sophia.
Where is he, though? Ooh, here's the clincher. They complain about living on palace grounds, and the ceilings were too low for tall Harry, and this porridge was too cold, and okay, Goldilocks. Imagine that you're complaining about living on palace grounds, okay? We get to her very first engagement with the Queen, where she travels by the royal train to Cheshire to visit the victims of the Grenfell fires. She tries to make it so much about her that we almost forget what the visit was really about, because she talks about having to take care of her grandmother, meaning Thomas Markle's mother.
And because I was so close with my grandmother and I took care of her in her final years.
For the last years of her life? I mean... Ain't nobody believe that, okay. Not the last days of her life, but the last years of her life, literally, she says that. Which I guess is just to say, like, she likes herself a grandma, so Harry had one, so that's how she got along with the Queen, because, you know, she do be liking grandmas. Number one, that's a lie. She did not take care of that lady. She visits these victims, these female victims. She somehow puts in there that she was a savior to these women. Why, you might ask? Oh, right. Because she wrote a cookbook of these Muslim traditional dishes off the backs of these victims.
So I walked into the local mosque and I asked if I could use the kitchen to cook.
And I think this was her first literary plagiarism, the second one being The Boy on the Bench. Well, The Bench, which was taken from The Boy on the Bench. Written by Corinne Alvarez and illustrated by Gabriel Albaroso. That was the second time she plagiarized somebody. Next up is the Australian tour. Remember that? So this segment begins with more praise upon praise from the Australian public. She said it was so hard for her because she was actually pregnant. And you have to remember that Meghan Markle is the only woman on planet Earth who has ever been pregnant. And she was so busy trying to journal her pregnancy that this tour really interrupted that for her.
I mean, looking back at it now, amazed we managed to do what we did.
Well, also even harder when I was pregnant.
Shut up, bitch!
She also says the word pregnant about 11,000 times in this segment. But let's have a look at this ultrasound picture. No date, no name, no year. Do you remember this speech where she completely throws her father under the bus and says that she had to work her way through school and life, and she just worked, and she worked more?
It was through scholarships, financial aid programs, and work study, where my earnings from a job on campus went directly towards my tuition, that I was able to attend university.
Even this lady knows she's lying her pants off. As if she stood up there to make this speech, not thinking for a moment then it could be debunked. What place, what headspace, what outer space is she in? After the tour of New Zealand and Australia, her friends come on and say, you know, her hairdresser and her like nail technician and whatever, come on and say, they don't know what happened. Something terrible happened and all of a sudden everything turned against Meghan.
It was almost like from the wedding and everything, I saw that they were building her up. And then there was a shift and they started to tear her down.
Well, let's revisit that. The claims include Meghan becoming upset at being given only a wing of Admiralty House, the Australian Governor General's official Sydney residence, rather than the whole property. On another occasion, she reportedly lost her temper with an assistant and a hot drink was knocked over. She threw tea at somebody. When Meghan discovered that hundreds of people were waiting outside the Sydney Opera House to welcome the newlyweds, the Duchess reportedly said to the team, "What are they all doing here? It's silly." The source told the Times, "They're here because they admire and support a monarch and an institution that you're representing." And she didn't get it. They bring up Diana again just to add credence to their complaints. It's so asinine that they bring her up for the Australia media turning on them. I don't see the connection, and I never do whenever they bring up Diana, to be honest. They continue to complain about the media by saying childishly that the media only attacked Meghan but never Catherine.
The Duchess of Sussex is at war with her sister-in-law.
Like, you sound so sixth grade right now. Why not her? It's only me. How do you say that? And Harry too, he's saying it too, as a whole entire man.
It's the same fruit. Shall we call this a fruit?
It is, yeah.
This is how it's covered for her. This is how it's covered for her. If you don't see the difference and understand why it's being reported that way, or why, then I can't help you. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. At the time.
What a jackass. She finds out for the first time that people do not approve of her treatment of her father when she goes to Liverpool.
And then we had a walkabout in Liverpool when there was a group of women, and one of them said to me, "What you're doing to your father's not right." And then my entire center was rocked to its core.
They gave her a piece of their minds in a way that only Liverpudlian women could do. The next segment is about the unaliving of Meghan Markle. Using droning sad music and long pauses, Doria recounts feeling helpless in her child's struggle with unaliving herself. That is, of course, once the press realized that she was a poor excuse for her daughter. As I said, this is all about her father exposing her and her public ratings dropping just through her being a shit daughter, really. I mean, this is what this is all about. This is what Megxit was all about. This is what all of her complaints are all about. She's trying to find all these other excuses when at the same time we know that it was because your dad exposed you as a massive bitch. Doria doesn't really say much about it other than,
Well, I knew that it was bad.
but I must say that I did inappropriately burst out laughing when she was like,
And I can't protect her. H can't protect her.
At this point, everything just seems so contrived and corny that I'm sorry, I just had to laugh. Harry goes back to blaming the royal family for the negative press that caused Meghan to feel these terrible feelings. He says that the royal family controls the narrative of the press. Okay, hold on. First of all, if that's the case, then how come they couldn't protect Andrew? How come they couldn't cover up for Andrew? It seems like Harry's going back and forth between the royal family is to blame, the public opinion is to blame, the press is to blame, and he just covers all bases, so he's not wrong. Well, of course it's not due to Meghan's actual actions, right? Her friend commissions People magazine to do an op-ed on Meghan Markle to, quote unquote, stick up for Meg. I mean, if this isn't calling the kettle black, because didn't they say that it's not fair that the royal family can control the press and the narrative and all that jargon that they use and the true story and the true truth and whatever? Isn't this them manipulating the press as well by getting a friend to do some kind of op-ed? By the way, this is why I don't trust People magazine anymore. She goes into her baby shower in New York City and how luxurious and fabulous it was, and private jets were flown and people were flued out. But then she gets super heated and angry.
To throw a party for their friend from a place of love. Why are you taking such a beautiful moment and trying to ruin it?
Anyone dared to criticize her clout-chasing friends who just wanted to show their undying love for her. And it kind of made me uncomfortable. I'll tell you why. Because I felt like cult vibes. Like, I am and should always be the most favored and worshipped. And you should never criticize my minions who are doing my work as the Lord and Savior. I don't know. It gave me Jim Jones. It gave me Guyana. I don't know why. Let's move on to Frogmore Cottage, where Archie was born on, the May 6th? Well, we don't even know because, we never got to see. Apparently, it was May 6th, 2019. And this segment starts like every other segment, with everyone being excited and the public adoring her for giving birth to the youngest royal.
Oh yay! Buckingham Palace proudly announces the birth of a royal baby boy.
And they even splice in the footage of the Queen giving birth to the heir. And it's at this moment that I kind of think that Meghan doesn't really get that she married the spare. Maybe that's why he had to write that book with the same name, just to drill it into her thick skull. You literally married the spare. You are not the Queen. Oh, the baby photos debacle. So Meghan says that they didn't follow the protocol because her OBGYN was at this other hospital and the steps would not have been logistically possible because doctor was over here, steps were over here, and so on and so forth. Then Harry actually admits that we didn't have to serve him up on a platter. We didn't have to do it their way. But in the Oprah interview, if you recall, Meghan says that they didn't ask them for pictures of Archie. And they didn't want to take away his title. And they didn't give us any security to take the photos. So I guess it's one of those things like the Google thing where she changes the story, she changes history because she looks back on it and says, okay, that sounded super dumb. So now it was logistically impossible for us to do the photos, not because of the assuming that they're not giving him a title and not giving him security at this time. Oh, we get to the chimp photo. Kind of my favorite part. I don't know. I kind of enjoy dark humor. So for me, I never really got the chimp photo. I didn't see it as racist in as much as it's a white couple with a chimpanzee. It was a meme. Okay, well, since you're not going to show us a picture of the baby, we can assume the baby's a chimpanzee or maybe a cat or maybe we don't know. We don't know nothing. For the first time ever in history. We just don't know what the royal newborn looks like. Anyway, it's been belabored ad nauseum, so we don't really have to go too deep into it. After the birth, Meghan talks about the fact that her mother, Doria, was there for a solid month. Hello!
My mom stayed with us for a month solid. And it was great to have her there. But then after that, we were in a position where we didn't have someone to help us with Archie.
Number one, that's a lie. Yeah, because we all know that throughout history, the nannies of the royal family have been on deck. And even you can see here where Harry is with his nanny. Why is she saying that? Also because in the Caribbean, what we would say is you didn't need any help making the baby, so you don't need any help looking after it. That's what we would say. And get on with it. I don't even want to go into the geopolitical aspect of it, but women be working and having babies and not having anyone to help them. Does that need to be said? She wanted to choose her own nanny because she wants to be different from Catherine. She has to be different because she's Meghan. And she's insane. So she gets this other nanny, to come.
You is kind. You is smart. You is important. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. Oh, that's so good.
And off they go to South Africa with Nanny. Their first royal tour since Archie's birth. But the nanny wasn't enough. The poverty in South Africa wasn't enough. She still found it possible to have this infamous interview.
And also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay. But it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really? Okay, it's really been a struggle.
Yes.
I'm just here in this mansion on holiday with my nanny and staff and so on and so forth. I haven't even retouched my makeup. She actually says retouch my makeup. She didn't even say that she had no makeup on. I guess she couldn't because we could see that. But I haven't even got to retouch my makeup. How out of touch is this person? But guess what? It made sense to the Meghan sugar fools in this world. They started a hashtag. We love you, Meghan, in the middle of bloody South Africa. Tenement. I don't know what they call it. We call it tenement. What do they call it in South Africa? Oh, South African townships it's called. Okay, so in the middle of that, they started a hashtag, we love you, Meghan, living up in that luxury. We're here with you. We stand for you. So I just want to say in closing though, I want to highlight this theme that happens with these documentary episodes. It either relates to a reactionary, just like the Oprah interview did, where you immediately react, oh, poor Meghan, she looked at the reporter like this. And I felt sad for her. Or you have the deep thinkers that say, that doesn't really make any sense. And let's actually go back and look at what really happened, because I think she's banking on the fact that we forgot. Because after the We Love You Meghan hashtag happened, once again, they complain that the public turned on them.
It was a huge turning point. It's when we started having harder conversations about what needs to happen for us to be able to continue to make this work.
So I definitely went through this one with a fine-tooth comb, and thank you so much for watching me. And I do this for you, and I'm going to be on the second episode of Volume 2 shortly. So lots of love to you. I'm still here and I'm still sane. Peace and love. Love you. I love you so much. Bye.